Alright, moved everything inside for when I painted the housing, and I'm going to stay in here because it's warm and it's not as warm outside. So anyways, all the studs are pounded in here. When I pounded out the seal, I pounded out just the seal by pushing on the bearing, and I left the race in. I did the same thing on the opposite side. It's kind of hard to see, but that's the other race. So so I don't need to pound these races in, which is kind of preferable if they don't need to be replaced. And the reason why that is preferable is because it's kind of hard to find something to pound these in with. They're pretty big races. I have a racing bearing kit right here. I'll show it to you real quick. So here's my biggest race out of the kit, and it just drops right through there. And that's because I don't have a big enough one. This is just the O'Reilly kit. Yeah, so it's hard to find something to pound this in with. If you got something, then go for it. Go ahead, pound it out, pound it in, whatever. But it's kind of a lot of work. So there's better videos of how to do this on the internet, but you're gonna wanna pack all the grease into this guy, and you can see that the taper is this way, and it's gonna go down in like that. Yeah, don't put this in upside down, like so. This would be the wrong way to put it in. Make sure the taper is facing down. So, I'll grease it. Alright, so we got this hub, and we gotta put the seal in the back end of it. So, make sure you got your final amount of grease all lubed up in here. I'd pack as much in as you can before you hammer this guy in. So I'm gonna grease that up. So with all the grease in there and this thing centered up, go get your seal driver and make sure you don't damage this thing because it's kind of fragile, but you do have to pound it in there pretty good. So since I didn't have anything big enough yet again, I'm just gonna take this guy and put it on here backwards and smack it in. Some guys just use like a straight up 2x4 or like a 4x4 and just throw it on there. So whatever you can do to disperse the impact. All right, she's in. I had to kind of move it around like that in order to get the weight even to get it flush, but you'll see it kind of peel off a little bit of the paint. Make sure that doesn't get in the inside of the wheel hub if you can prevent it. Couple quick notes on assembly. One, make sure you don't mount this brake mount piece backwards like I did. So this is the correct way. The other way would have this elbow going outset like that. Instead it's coming in towards the kingpin. So do that correctly. And then second of all, this bearing goes in like so. Make sure it does not go in like that. Taper facing outward. You want the taper facing inward. Slide this guy on. You're gonna kind of have to push the hub back and lift this into place, and it's not gonna be easy. Hey guys, Saturday morning, and I'm just about to finish this axle up here, and I just want to give you a quick overview on how to wash your fucking nuts. So, got Wu-Tang blasting. If you don't like Wu-Tang, go fuck yourself, shut this video off, and gouge your eyeballs out. I got just a little camping cup right here. My parents gave it to me for Christmas because they thought I liked camping, but they're wrong. I just like turning wrench. That's all I give a shit about anymore. So anyways, take these, throw them in here, pump a bunch of fast orange. If you have a shop sink, that's great, but I have a kitchen sink and live alone because I'm an asshole, so it's kind of perfect. Get that water nice and hot before you throw it in there, like hot enough to burn. Then you got this bowl with the soapy ass water, and just shake it. Shake the shit out of it for like as long as you want. You get all that grease and nasty stuff out there. Alright, pretty much the last step here is to put these little guys on to the end. I throw a little bit of grease on the back side of the nut because it's going to be sitting against that outer bearing. So go ahead and grease that up a little bit. Nothing intense. I don't even really know if you need to do this, but I'll just do it anyway. Okay, then get your crazy looking socket. Thread this guy on here. Which is not easy because you have to stick it in there. Nope, not quite. Oh, and then the other thing too is that if this is torn up at all, like you can see this side's super smooth, and then this side's been fucked up by some fuck boys. Didn't want to buy a socket, use a screwdriver instead. Make sure that the smooth side is against the bearing, because you don't want this against this stuff against the bearing, tearing it up, you know. So if you really want to take the time, you can go get the angle grinder out and like smooth off the little burrs from the thing, but it's not necessary. I can't seem to get this in here with only one hand. Oh, there we go. Ugh. Okay, and then for tightening this, there's a lot of conflicting things on the internet, and I can't really seem to find a total consensus. A lot of people yelling at each other, telling them they suck at being a mechanic and whatnot, but I just kind of torque spec with 50 foot-pounds, but if you do that, you pretty much lock the wheel bearing down to the point that it doesn't even spin anymore. So the idea is that you turn it down to 50 foot-pounds while you're spinning the hub, and then back it off until it's like free but still tight, which is generally right around like 35 foot-pounds. So I'll do that for you real quick. Make sure you always back off your torque wrench when you're done. The flash is making it impossible to read. But you can just trust me that I'm setting it to 50 foot-pounds. I wouldn't lie to you. Stick this guy on here. And then I don't have enough free hands or a tripod to show you exactly how I'm supposed to do this. But basically I'm going to have my hand on this hub, spinning it while I'm tightening this down. So right here at 50 pounds, when I put my hand on it, it still turns, but it's really stiff. You don't want it to be that tight. So now I'm just going to put the socket on there. And I'm going to loosen the nut while I'm spinning this hub until it gets to that breakaway point where it's free spinning, but the nut is as tight as I can possibly get it without it hampering how well this is spinning. So once you got that spindle nut torqued on there, right, where this doesn't feel like it's being restricted, I skipped the actual video of me doing it, but you'll put that lock washer on there, and you'll bend the tabs, one or two of them, back onto that nut, and then you'll put the last nut in here, and you're just going to do it hand tight. You want to make sure it won't come back off, and that it's snug up against the lock washer, but not enough to impede the movement of this thing. Next part is you're going to take these end caps and slide them on there. You should probably pack some grease into the end of this first. With that pushed into place and all your bolt holes lined up, put all your bolts in here and then snap your C-clip on the end of this guy. There's a little bit of grease, so I'll have to wipe that away. Don't forget to put your gaskets on there. If you don't have them, you'll probably be okay, but I figure they're like $1 each, so I picked them up. Getting that snap ring on it isn't too easy, but you can do it. Yeah, if you have snap ring pliers, it really makes it easy. So have fun with that one. Then once that's on, you're gonna take this little cap, grease it up good, and clean it the fuck out. Holy shit. Then you're gonna have to hammer it on here, but as cleanly and smoothly as possible without putting a shit ton of dents in it.